57,000 men. One day, July 1st, 1916, London sleeps. A distant boom rolls across the city. A window trembles. Someone wakes, listens, turns over. It's just noise, but that sound is not noise. It is the beginning of the deadliest day in British military history. At first light, as dawn breaks over the Somme, thousands of British soldiers will climb out of their trenches. They will walk forward. They believe the enemy is already destroyed. They are wrong. One question matters. How did Britain's largest attack collapse within minutes? By late 1915, the war had stopped moving. Europe was not advancing, it was sinking. Mud, barbed wire, concrete bunkers, machine guns. The old style of war was dead. But most generals had not realized it yet. Germany had one advantage: speed. Railways allowed divisions to shift from quiet sectors to crisis points faster than the Allies could respond. So Britain and France designed a solution: attack everywhere, at once, stretch Germany thin, break the line. The Somme was chosen, not because it inspired hope, because it was practical. It sat where British and French lines met, a seam in the front. Originally, France would lead. 39 veteran French divisions would carry the weight. Britain would support, balanced, on paper. Then, Verdun happened. February 1916. Germany attacked. France began to bleed. Divisions meant for the Somme were pulled into a furnace. 39 French divisions became 12. The Somme was no longer shared. It became a British operation, and Britain believed it was ready. They believed scale meant dominance. They believed artillery meant victory. They believed noise meant destruction. That belief would decide everything. Come on. Make it. For 7 days before July 1st, British guns fired. More than 1,500 guns. Over 1 million shells. The ground trembled without pause. Fields dissolved into smoke. Entire ridge lines vanished in dust. From British lines, officers watched through binoculars. What they saw looked like annihilation. Reports came back. The wire must be gone. The trenches must be shattered. No one could survive that. For a week, they convinced themselves that they were winning without moving. At 7:28 a.m., 10 massive mines detonated beneath German positions. The earth rose into the sky. A column of dirt climbed hundreds of feet. For a moment, it looked like the end. Then the whistles blew. British soldiers climbed out of their trenches. They did not sprint. They did not scatter. They walked. Rifles on shoulders, packs heavy, formation intact, because they believed nothing human could still be alive in front of them. But belief is not destruction. The bombardment had weaknesses. Too few heavy guns to crush deep concrete shelters. Up to 30% of shells never detonated. And worst of all, the artillery was spread too wide. Trying to erase 2 trench systems meant not fully erasing either. German soldiers were not dead. They were underground, 40 feet below, in reinforced bunkers, waiting for the noise to stop. When the whistles blew, they climbed back up. Machine guns positioned, fields pre-measured, ranges already known. The British walked forward. The Germans were ready, waiting. The men advancing did not know this. They stepped forward into a battlefield redesigned for one purpose: to punish movement. and the system worked.
Watch out!
British infantry moved uphill. 60 pounds of gear, rifles, ammunition, entrenching tools, barbed wire was not fully cut. Units slowed, line compressed. Then, machine guns opened. Not scattered shots, sustained fire, controlled arcs sweeping open ground. Men fell in rows. Officers signaled forward. Whistles blew again. More waves climbed out. Because the plan said the enemy was broken. This was no longer a battle. It was a production line feeding men into fire. In the first hour, casualties surged into the thousands. By nightfall, around 57,000 British soldiers were killed, wounded, or missing. Nearly 20,000 were dead. One day, the deadliest in British military history. There were gains in the south. The French advanced where they attacked. But the main thrust, the center, collapsed. The breakthrough never came. Here is the trap. When your plan fails in minutes, your leaders cannot admit it. Verdun was still consuming France. If Britain withdrew, Germany could shift divisions again. So the Somme continued. July 14th, another assault. More artillery, smaller objectives, some ground taken, no decisive break. The fighting dragged through summer. High Wood, Delville Wood, Pozières. Each name another subtraction. In September, a new weapon appeared. The tank, slow, unreliable, terrifying. A glimpse of the future, but not enough to change the present. Rain came in October. Mud swallowed momentum. On November 18th, 1916, the battle ended. After 140 days, British casualties, over 420,000. French, over 200,000. German losses, around 500,000, for roughly 7 miles of ground. After the war, the Somme became a symbol. Industrial slaughter, a generation scarred. Some argue it weakened Germany, maybe. But here is what July 1st truly revealed. Technology had changed. Leadership had not. Machine guns had reshaped the battlefield. Concrete bunkers had reshaped survival. Industrial firepower had reshaped war. But the assumptions remained old. They believed more shells meant fewer enemies. They believed volume meant certainty. They were wrong. The Somme was not just a disaster. It was a warning. In modern war, noise is not dominance. Firepower is not victory. Confidence is not proof. On July 1st, 1916, 57,000 men paid the price for fighting a modern war with outdated thinking. They did not walk into battle. They walked into slaughter.
The sector line is here.
The Somme was not lost by cowards. It was led by confident men, men with maps, with medals, with authority. They were not stupid. They were certain. And certainty is more dangerous than fear. They believed their preparation was enough. They believed their scale was overwhelming. They believed their men would break the line because the plan said so. But the battlefield had already changed, and they did not. Here is the part leaders do not like to hear. Most collapses do not begin with weakness. They begin with assumption. You assume the system still works. You assume the numbers guarantee momentum. You assume because it worked before it will work again. That morning in 1916, no one thought they were walking into slaughter. They thought they were executing a strategy. Today, the battlefield is different. It is markets. It is technology. It is reputation. It is speed. But the danger is the same. If the system evolves, And you are not advancing. You are walking. Leaders don't fall because they lack courage. They fall because they refuse to question their own certainty. The men at the Somme were brave. Their plan was outdated. And outdated thinking kills faster than opposition ever will. So before you move forward, ask yourself, are you attacking reality? Or are you attacking the version of it that exists only in your head? Because history is clear. The most dangerous leader is not the weak one. It is the one who believes he cannot be wrong. And that belief has buried armies before. Decode the past. Command the future.